Hello and welcome to the video. This is a quick video to answer this question here from a gentleman called Richard, who's looking to transition from landing his planes line of sight to landing them FPV. And he sent me a message asking me what are my top tips and tricks. Landing is one of those times when there's probably going to have the most chance of doing damage to your beloved wing or plane. And if you're learning, then this is the time when usually you will end up making a mess of something. So there is a little bit of skill involved. So Richard, this one's for you, but actually it's a great enough question that I thought I would make a quick video and go through the 5 things that I would talk about if we were talking about this over a pint in the pub. The first thing is that when we are learning to fly line of sight, and this happens far more in the fixed wing part of the community historically than it does in the quad side, being able to come and land line of sight is something that you get used to very quickly. It's how you get your model back. And because of that, potentially we can get into a couple of bad habits with having quite aggressive turns and then coming in and diving quite aggressively, then pulling up and kind of floating it in. Because as we're looking at it, we can see exactly where we are in relation to the landing area, how fast we're coming in, how fast we're losing height, all those kind of things you can just see from watching it come in, and you can kind of gauge it. And obviously model by model, it's slightly different. Floatier models, you can just kind of limp in and just kind of keep it from stalling and then drop into the grass at your feet. Bigger models with more power, things like EDF jets, need a little bit more planning. My first bit of advice is if you are going to be coming into land, get used to taking a much more considered, gentle approach. No last minute turns over the end of the field and then kind of bring it down and, high alpha it to bring it in. Expect to line it up so that you are looking at the landing area and to bring it in, point the nose at the end of the runway or landing strip if you have an area like that, and then as you come over that, kind of flatten it out and gently sink it into the grass. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you've got the hang of it, it works really well. So use the FPV approaches and be more gentle and considered than you might be, because you are learning things like how high you are, what the speed looks like, and those different things as well. My next tip is before you actually try an FPV landing, and some pilots get this really quickly, some pilots it takes a little bit of time, and it's just a confidence thing more than anything else, is while you are landing line of sight and you're flying the model line of sight, still have the goggles on and still have the DVR running, because what it allows you to do is watch that back. By watching the DVR back, you can see what that bird's eye view looks like, so you have an idea of what you're going to see when you try it for real. One of the things that I do is I record a lot of my flights FPV, and I like to check the DVRs afterwards just to see whether or not I'm developing any bad habits, because once I'm away from having to actually get the plane down in one piece, I can be a lot more objective about what actually happened and make sure that I don't get into trouble in the future. The next one is if you have the ability to have some kind of on-screen display shown in the FPV image, I would recommend you have it turned on. I don't like it particularly cluttered. You'll have seen my FPV OSD stuff that I show on the channel. I tend to have everything kind of in the corners out of the way. But the 2 things I'm particularly interested in when I'm coming in are going to be 2 things, obviously height and obviously speed. I need to know that I'm probably 5 to 10 miles an hour above the stall speed of the aircraft, so that I have a little bit of latitude if I do need to drop a wing just to kind of straighten up for the approach that isn't going to stall. But also I need to know how high I am as well. Again, this is less of an issue once you have got a number of these landings under your belt, knowing the fact that you're 30 meters, 20 meters, or 100 feet or 80 feet actually doesn't make that much difference. It's about getting over the landing strip and a reasonable height. I like to come in about head height or just above. That's at 6-8 feet high. Usually, like I say, about 10 miles over what the stall speed of the aircraft is, and then just kind of let it gently sink down into the grass. A lot of the planes that I fly here do not have any type of landing gear on them. These are belly landers, so I don't worry too much about that. And I also tend to fly in areas that are quite grassy and not really rocky. If, however, you have landing gear, then having a very accurate readout of what the height is could be really important to you. Having things like barometers on the planes can really help with that. Be aware, though, in long flights, barometers can drift and be quite a way out, and the difference between 1 or 2 meters can be the difference of you kissing the runway gently with your landing gear and slamming into it and breaking off half of the landing gear the next time around. Things like lidars can be added so that when you are below a certain height, typically it's a handful of meters, you get very, very accurate idea of how high you are. So for landing gear, I would probably on these kind of models install a lidar, particularly if I'm going to be landing on tarmac. Then I can read off exactly how high I am down to the minuscule amount, and then I know exactly how far I'm away from the tarmac, and I can kind of flare and hopefully land without breaking anything. Last tip is probably the most obvious one at all. As with all things with this hobby, practice makes perfect. Trying it, watching back your DVRs, having on-screen display turned on, all the other things we've talked about can be helpful, but actually doing it can make a big difference. If you have models that don't have landing gear that you can belly land, it's a great way to try it out without getting into trouble. The other big tip I will give you is obviously lots of places require some kind of spotter for you to be legal while you're flying FPV anyway, but even if it's not, I would get somebody with you when you are practicing the FPV stuff to be at your side. Make sure it's somebody that speaks the same aviation language so that when they say, oh, you're a bit high, mate, you understand what a bit high actually means so that you can take appropriate action. Having somebody at your shoulder that's got that line of sight view, that's an experienced pilot who can kind of talk you in for those first half a dozen times can make all the difference, because while they're doing that, you have that safety net, you have that extra little bit of confidence, you can see what it looks like, and you can repeat it and repeat it until it starts to make a lot more sense, and you know when things look right through the FPV goggles. So Richard, hopefully that's kind of answered it for you. I think when I replied this to you directly, it was something that you came back and said that's all kind of useful stuff. As with all things, practice makes perfect. I find that when I try and do something, I always like somebody there for moral support, if for no other reason. But one of those things is landing, and it's one of those things that, you know what, if you don't like landing FPV, you don't have to. You can always start the approach and then pull your goggles up and your buddy can point to it in the sky. But I found that now I've got the hang of landing FPV, it's actually a lot easier to land exactly where you want to every time over actually flying it and trying to land it line of sight. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Painless 360 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.